Worry about it. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another installment of Cloud EDU's free webinars. And today, you guys are in for a treat because we got a very jam-packed and very interesting session today. And my colleague Setu will be bringing us that today. Setu, how are you today?
I'm very cold, Temba, I must say. It's been relenting here in the Western Cape. The weather has just literally been miserable.
Yeah.
So we're just eating soup. We have heaters on, with electric blankets on. I mean, it's an ideal temperature for one to just always be indoors. So yeah, we are cold, but we're excited.
Yeah, I think it wouldn't help to, I'm wearing a short sleeve, so I don't think.
Look at you bragging. Look at you bragging.
Although
I think it's like a pigeon, and I just do some migration, especially when it comes to this time of the year. But because Cape Town can get seriously cold.
Yeah, I mean, as much as Cape Town is unlocking and unleashing the cold front, hoping it's the last variant of it, seems to me you'll be unlocking other powers today. And so what will those powers be within Sheets?
Yes. We're adding in that stew pot that my aunt is currently making. I'm adding some sheets right in there because last week we were reformed with forms. Yeah. Now we're just unpacking the power of our Google Sheets. So today we'll just literally be unpacking what we can actually do on Sheets. I've got a wide variety of topics that I want to cover, which is starting from data sorting. I think this is something that is quite critical when it comes to any particular institution. So from data sorting to data filtering, searching within a particular filter, creating custom filters, data visualizations, and creating sparklines. So these are things that I actually wanted to just unpack with you today. So if you will permit me, may I go ahead?
Absolutely. I've been waiting in anticipation, brother.
Thank you so much. So good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Cloud EDU's webinar, as Temba had suggested. So we are Cloud EDU. We are Google's tier 1 partner. So we are Google's partner where we specialize in a wide range of services. And one of those services is teacher professional development. So we've got a directorate of professional development. And, this is probably one of those elements where our specialization within that professional development is change management, which is something that, you don't necessarily get a lot of out there. We've got a lot of experience in deployments, which is cloud deployments. We do Chromebooks. We are one of the premier sales, number one, in fact, as a Chrome sales agent in Africa. So we've got a lot of experiences in terms of how to actually work within a Chrome environment right across. And from there, we've got other services, like we can perform audits for institutions that have gone Google, but, you just want to ensure that your system itself is well tailored for the 21st century and you're compliant with all the different security policies. So that is just basically what we do. And before I get started with the nuts and the bolts of today's session, I just wanted to just give a beep to an upcoming event. This upcoming event is what we call the Flip Tour. So we've got an opportunity of hosting a young lady by the name of Holly Clark from the United States. So she is going to be in two of the cities here in South Africa, which is in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. So these events are going to be taking place on the 10th of September in Johannesburg. And then the one in Cape Town, it's going to be on the 6th of September. So these two events are completely free. So please do feel free that if you're in the area to just pop in. There will be an email that will be sent out where you'll be able to get all information. And I'll also ask my colleague Temba to just put on the chat, more information around where these events are going to be hosted, what time, and so on and so on and so on. So please have a look on the chat line for information around this particular event. So with that being said and done, I would like to jump right into what we're here for today. So what I did was I just went online and I looked for a well-designed spreadsheet with some randomized information about some employees for some particular company sitting somewhere in the world. And what I wanted to showcase is what one can do with a typical spreadsheet and how many different customizations we can actually do with this particular sheet. So the first thing that I want to bring your attention to is right here on the left-hand side in column A. I've just numbered these records because what I want to do is every time that we are going to be working with a spreadsheet and we are going to be doing customizations, moving information around, we at least want to keep a record as where these were originally. So you need to know which one was record number 1, record number 2, and so on, in case you ever wanted to restore information to its previous format. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to do a data sorting. So I'll do 2 types of data sorting. The first one is going to be what we call a single level, and then the second one is called a multi-level. So what does it mean when you're saying that you are going to be doing a single level data sorting? So right now we've got a spreadsheet, and if I go to data, I will notice that the first sorting, or rather sorting link, is active, but then the other one, which is sort range, is inactive. I'll explain to you why. So the first one, it only covers information that is currently sitting in column J, and you've got 2 options. You can either rank this information in ascending order, which is from A to Z, or in descending order, which is from Z to A. But that's not what I want to do. So what I want to do is I want to create custom filters within, or rather custom sorts within this particular spreadsheet. So there are 2 ways in which I can do this. The first way, I could highlight the table where my information is sitting, which is directly from the first cell all the way up until the bottom, which is the last cell, which is L44. So that's one way I can do it. The other way of doing it, which I think I like, is just clicking anywhere within this data table and then pressing the combination of Control and A. And that will highlight the entire table. And after the table has been highlighted, if I go back to data now, I'll notice that both sort sheets and sort range are now active. So the button that I'm actually interested in is I'm looking for the advanced range sorting options because that's where I want to be. So if I had to just go to the first one, this one will only give me, I can sort either using column E or any other column, so you can choose the different columns. But I want to be able to choose by header type. So I'll go to sort range, and then I'll go to the advanced range sorting options. And as soon as I click that, I'll notice that here it tells me that I'm going to be sorting from this table A7 to L44. I can be sorting by column names, which is column A to column L, but that's not what I want, because I want to know what fields are currently sitting in these columns. So what I would then do is I will select this radio button here, right next to data has a header row. So I will click that, and immediately you'll notice that the sort by now changes to an NUM, which is going to be my first entry in column A under row 7. So if I clicked on the shark tooth, I'll be able to see all the different headers in my row 7, which means that now I'm able to customize how it is that I want to be sorting this information. So what I'll do here is I'll say, well, I want to sort this information by last name. So I click last name, and I want it to be alphabetized, which is from A to Z in ascending order. Once I'm happy with this, then I can click sort. As soon as I click sort, now I'll notice that my last names are going to be sorted in ascending order. And you'll notice that my numbering has also changed from the previous one. So this is what we call single level data sorting. Now, if I just undo that, now I want to show you what a multi-level data sorting looks like. So my table has been highlighted, then I'll go to data, and then I'll go to sort range, then I'll go to advanced range sorting options, and I still select my data as my data header row. And then I will say, well, I want to sort it in last name, but now I also want to add another condition. Now, this second condition is I also want to sort this by district. So I want to sort by last name, and I want to sort by district. So once I'm happy with these two, then I click sort. What it does is it sorts my information and it prioritizes the first condition that you had set. So you'll find that within this particular A region, it will try and sort it out with the A, and then here it will alphabetize that as well in ascending order. So then you go to the next one and the next one and the next one. So this is what we call a multi-level data sorting. So usually this is quite important when you've got multiple different data sorts, because as you can see, you can literally you can go with the first, this one, you can add another sort column. I could go department, I could add another one, and I could say, well, I want to do level, for example. So now I have three three levels at which I can be sorting my data. And then you'll have it right over there. So this helps a school when they have got multiple different fields at which they wanted to start doing some sorting. Okay, so now I'm going to quickly move over from that, and I'm going to go to our filters. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to filter records in a list, right? So the same process will apply. In order for me to do this thing effectively, I will click on my table and I'll press Control A. And once that has been selected, then I'll go to my data. And then from here, I'm not going to be sorting my data, but I can create a filter, right? So now I do that. So the reason why I wouldn't do it if it was, let's say my cursor was sitting right there in column O and I went data and I said create a filter, is because now the filter only happens in that cell and there's no data that's sitting over there. So that's where I have to select my entire table and then I do my filter right over there. So what we typically would do with these is that we can say, well, if I wanted to filter by departments, I could select this upside down pyramid. And I could see that I can sort this by A to Z, sort by Z to A, sort by color, filter by condition, or filter by values. So for now, if I wanted to only filter by AC, then I could select AC and then I click OK. And there I have it. So the department, which is AC, it is what I have as information. But now, if I wanted to create another filter, then I can go to the next item that I wanted to filter by, which is to say I want to also filter by district. So now I can go to the upside down pyramid within there. Then I'll say, well, I want to filter by MNEE. So I'll clear all, and then I'll select that one only, and I'll press OK. So what it does is on top of its filtering via AC, it also now adds another filter item, which is MNEE. And that's basically what you do. So this is a two-tier type of filtering using these particular records. So now the way that you can undo this whole thing, you can either go and select there where you can remove the filter, or what you could do is you could go data and then you just press remove filter. The two of these options definitely can work for you. Okay, so I'm hoping that everyone is still enjoying this particular session. I mean, if you have any questions, please use the chat feature on the side. My colleague will be able to assist us in that. Now, the next thing is I wanted to now filter by a particular condition. So the information that I have also includes something that I'm going to call a pay rate. So let's say our boss, let's say this was our company and Temba was my boss. And Temba was feeling quite charitable for this particular month. And he felt that, you know what, everyone who's earning less than $10, they need to just get whether it's a voucher or whatever the incentive might have been. So we want to be able to look at everyone who's earning less than a particular figure. So what we do is we still do a Control A, we select our data points. And after we've done that, then we are going to quickly create that filter. And then we are going to go to this condition here where we say we want to filter by a particular condition. So I'm going to select filter by condition. So the question is, what condition do you want to set? So I'm going to say, well, I want to ensure that anyone who's earning less than $10. So that means that the information must be less than or equal to. And then I'm going to enter the value, and the value is going to be 10, right? And then I press my enter button. Okay, let's just press OK. Okay, so once I've done that, so what the filtering option does now is it looks right through all of these records, and then it only gives me those that earn less than $10. So everyone that is currently on this list will then get that particular incentive. So if you're a teacher and you wanted to find all students that get less than a particular mark for an assessment, and you wanted to either create an intervention strategy for them, or for those that got more than a particular value and you wanted to give them something else, this definitely would be an option as a tool. Okay, so that is quite nice. I think I like this feature because it creates a dynamic nature of how do we rank our data and how do we visualize our data. The next thing that I wanted to cover is, so if you are working in a team and you guys have got different filter views that you wanted to consider. So I'm currently working with Temba. Temba wanted to see something, but he didn't want to compromise, or he didn't want to change the view of this particular sheet, and he wanted to quickly restore his view at any given time. So what we do here is we'll say here, if I click here and I go to data, you'll notice that here is sort sheet, there is create a filter, but then there's filter views. So this is where I wanted to play. So I go to filter views, and you'll notice here that there's only two, which is create a new filter view, and then there is learn more. There's no filter views that I've created, so I'm going to be creating my first one. So here I will click create a new filter view. And as soon as that has happened, you'll notice what happens here, right? This whole table now is blacked out, but now look at where the filter is. It's sitting right over there. So that doesn't work. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly delete this. And then I need to make sure that the cursor is sitting right in the middle of the data set, right? And then I can go to create a new filter view. Once I've done that, you'll notice that here, you will have all the different filter items or the filtering options within your data set. And now we are ready to customize. So I want to still customize by saying I want to, okay, let me just say I wanted to filter by department. So I'm going to filter by AC and AD. So I'm going to clear, and I'm only going to choose these two departments. Okay. And yeah, so that's the only information that I want to see. And because this is me and I wanted to only look at AC and AD, I'm going to name this filter view. So I'm going to say AC and AD SA2. So I'm going to leave my initials as ES. And as soon as I'm done with that, then I'll just close this. Okay, and as soon as I close it, it restores it to the original view, because now Temba wants to come in and he also wants to work on this, and he wants to create his own filter. So again, he needs to make sure that he is within the data range, and then he'll go to data, and then he'll go to filter views, and then you'll see right here now there is this ACADES, which is the one, my filter view. So Temba wants to create his new filter view. And as soon as selected that, Temba wants to see maybe, let's say, the main district. And maybe he wanted only to see, let's say, A, level A. And that's what he wants to see. So then Temba will name this one main Temba. Okay. So we'll just leave that. Okay, main and A. So Temba will know his naming convention. And then once he's happy with what filter view he has, and there he has it. And then when he closes, and that's that. So now if anyone wanted to come at any other given time working on the same spreadsheet, because now we are collaborating online, we will then be able to just say, well, let's go to data, filter views. I want to see mine. So this is mine. Let me just quickly go back there. And this is mine. And it should restore my filter view. And if Temba came and he wanted to see his, he'll just go to data, filter views, and he wanted to see his one, then he can go there, and there he has it. And then it opens up his filter view. Okay, so now if you wanted to delete any of these filter views, then what you'll do is you'll go to this gear where it has options. You have options to renaming. So you're renaming this particular filter view, to update the range, to duplicate, to delete, or to learn more. So right now we just want to delete this. So I'm deleting that view, and I also want to delete the other view. So I'm just going to quickly go to this view, and then I'm going to delete the view. Okay, so I hope that will save a lot of your time instead of just always filtering. And because now it sometimes is frustrating when you're working on the same spreadsheet with multiple different team members, and each one has a different preference of information and how it should be displayed. And that's how one can handle that. Any questions, please do feel free, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and please like these videos so that we can improve the algorithm, so that we can have our material reaching more people. So the next thing that I wanted to quickly cover is I wanted to cover data visualizations. So I'm just going to go from here, and I'll go to this tab. And within this tab, I've got some data points. So I've got salespeople, week 1 till week 4, and I've got the different salespeople. So what I want to do is now I want to create a data visual. I mean, you can see, if I wanted to look at Mr. Steve Jobs here, in terms of how has he been doing over the past 4 weeks in comparison with Mr. Musk and Buffett and Mayer and so on. So what I'll do is, again, I will select a cell within that particular table, and I'll press Control A. And once I've done that, then I'll go to data, and then I'll go to insert, and then I'll go to chart. So as soon as I've done that, what this will do is it will quickly create a standardized chart that sits right in front of me. So this chart is what we call a typical column chart. And on this right-hand side, you'll see there's a chart editor. And the chart editor will allow you to change the current setup or to customize it. So as it currently stands, I need to find out what are the different type of charts that I could use in order for me to visualize my data. So when you go to chart type, you are able to look at, click on the shark tooth. And once you've selected the shark tooth, you'll be able to look at the data as a line format, as area, as columns, as bars, as a pie, as scatter, as whatever. So if I went to look at it as a pie chart, then you'll be able to look at the information in that particular way. But this doesn't look very nice to me. So I'm just going to go back. I think the column will work for now. Right? So after you've selected the column chart, you are able to also choose stacking. So currently the information is not stacked. It looks more like a histogram type. So you can look at it in a stacked view by saying, well, I want to look at standard stacking, and this is what your standard stacking will look like. Or you could look at 100% stacking, and that's what it would look like. But, you know, I mean, this is not easy for any person to read. So I'll just rather leave it at none. I think that should be fine for now. Now, currently on my x-axis, I will be able to see all the different salespeople. So that I'll leave as that. Here's my series, so I can see that there is week 1 to week 4. And I've got, okay, trends I'm not going to bother too much about. I'm just going to remove that. Let's just quickly remove, okay. So now if I wanted to switch, because as the information is currently presented, I'm able to see that here is Mr. Jobs, but Mr. Jobs is compared to himself over this particular week, and Mr. Musk is compared to himself. But what I want to do is I wanted to change the narrative and say, well, I want to see how they did against each other in week 1 and in week 2 and in week 3 and week 4. So what I then do is I will switch my rows and columns. So if I select this button here, what I have now is I can see that, well, okay, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Okay, now I can see that in week 1, the blue will represent jobs and then Musk and so on. So now I think I will be able to compare the different salespeople on a weekly basis. So I think I like that. Okay, so now from here, I will also able to customize this data. So I'm able to say I can change the chart style, and the chart style currently the background is white, so I can change that, and I can probably make it gray. And the font currently is sitting at wide. No, it's not sitting at wide. It's probably sitting at Arial. So if I went to wide, it will make it nice and bold. So maybe that's something that I like. The chart border color, that's that. I don't want to reset. I want to change that. Do I want to maximize? So if you're maximizing it, it might make it look too chunky. So I'm not going to do that. I don't want the information to be presented as a 3D. I think it's still nice this way as well. And I'm not comparing this data with any other data. So I'm not going to use the compare mode. And then the next thing that you can do is chart and axis titles. So here my chart itself doesn't have a particular title, and then I could choose one and I could say sales comparison. So now that is my chart title. So what I can do is I could change that this must be centralized. I can make it bold. I can change the size of the font to maybe 18, or maybe that's a bit small. Maybe let's make it 24. That looks better. And the text color, it's currently sitting at custom. I want to make it nice and bold and black, and that's that. So I'm quite happy with that. And then the series. So the series, I can either apply it to all, or I can just choose Mr. Jobs. So I can say, well, whatever I'm going to be doing to Mr. Jobs, his fill color currently is sitting at auto. I want his color to be, I don't even know what this color is. It looks like a greenish color. I don't know. Maybe let's make it a nice green so that it doesn't look like this one. So I've customized that particular fill color. His line color, I want to make it nice and black. Yes, and that's about it. So I can literally do this for each and every one of them. So here I can choose Mr. Sandberg, and then I could say, well, let's choose yours to be a nice blue color. So now that changes to that particular color. So this is how you can start customizing the visuals of your particular chart sheet. And then, yeah, and then when you're done with that, you can obviously just minimize that. There's other different parts, which is your legend. My legend is currently positioned at automatic. I could choose whether I don't want to have one. I want to have it right on top. I want to have it at the bottom. So my legend is currently sitting over here. I'm quite happy with where it is at. So that should be fine. And then if I look at the horizontal axis, so that will be, this is the horizontal axis over here. So I don't want to really change much there, nor do I want to change anything else. And when I'm quite happy with my chart, then I could obviously close. So there's a lot more that one can explore in terms of the visualization of that particular data. So I'm just going to move my chart to the side. And the last thing that I wanted to cover with you is I wanted to have a look at something that we call sparkline. So now what is sparkline? So sparkline is the ability to create personal trends for each particular person. So what I'll do is let me just quickly try and just zoom in. Let's just make it 125. Yeah. So I see Mr. Jobs had been performing week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And as part of the visualization, yes, I do have a graph right there, but this is doing a comparative analysis between the different employees. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a look at how has Mr. Jobs performed against himself. So I wanted to look at the trend of Mr. Jobs' sales over the 4 weeks. So what I do then is I press, I select the cell, and then I will, obviously, because this works similar to what you will have in the other comparative product, you press the equal sign, and as soon as you've done that, then you will type in spark, spark, and then you'll see that because of Google's artificial intelligence, it tells you exactly what you want to see, which is spark line, and then you can press the tab button on your keyboard. And then now you are ready to start adding on to those particular conditions. So the first thing here is that Google helps you in terms of what should you do to actually autofill this entire line of, because this is mini coding. How do you code for a particular thing to take place? So what I will do is I'll say, well, we want to look at our data. So we want to create a spark line of what data set. So this is the data which is from week 1 to week 4. So we select from week 1 all the way up until week 4. And then we select that, and then we have that. Okay, so basically what you have done is you have created a line trend from week 1 all the way up until week 4 for Mr. Jobs. So let's just go back to this code. Let's say you wanted to customize this such that you could create different colors. So what I would do is I'll just come right to the end of this code, which is there, because this is optional. You don't have to. But for those of us that, you want to be adventurous. I mean, if you don't like a line graph, you wanted to create a bar graph, you could literally do that. But for now, I'll just keep it as nice and simple as possible. So the first thing that you'll do is after you've selected your data, you press comma, and then you can start putting in this curly bracket. And then from the curly bracket, then you can put your double inverted commas, and then you can type in chart type, and then you can close those, and then you press comma. And because we are going to be sticking with line, you can just open up and then just type in line, close, okay? And then after line, now you want to choose the color. So if you wanted to choose a bar graph, instead of you writing line, you could type in the line graph, or rather bar graph, but now we want to have a line graph. And then we type in line, and then the color, we don't want it to be this traditional black line. I want a red line. So there I will choose color. And then the color will be red. Okay, and then I close my curly brackets, and then I'll close my statement, and then I press the end. Oopsie, did something wrong there. Let's just quickly have a look. I seem to have too many brackets, it seems. Okay, and there you have it. So now you've got your trend line happening in red, and then now what you can do is you can click on it, and then the square corner appears, and you can just drag and drop it right to the bottom, and it should do exactly the same thing to the others. So these are the different ways of you doing a group data visualization, or you could personalize the data such that you are able to indicate whether the progress has been a positive trend or it has been a negative trend. So I think for today, that is about it. And I look forward to hearing for any questions or any comments from my colleagues. And if there's no questions or comments, I would like to hand over to Temba just to quickly round up for us.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Esechi. That was really absolutely amazing. I'm not gonna lie, but there's this what you call it, this new horizon that just opened up in terms of sheets for me. So that's really great. I've looked in the chat there, and it doesn't seem to be many questions. I think one thing that one just needs to understand is if you can just maybe in a short description, because I think a lot of people sometimes get confused between sorting a range and actually using a range type. So you got the sort and you have the other range way. If you can maybe just explain the two difference between, and I'm not talking about alphabetic and descending, but rather than actually, if you can head over to a sheet there, I think that's something that a lot of people sometimes do get confused between when wanting to sort out your date between ranging from a certain criteria or sorting from a certain criteria.
Yeah, so technically, when I look at this data here, and I just quickly select all, when one is looking at sorting, sorting is the ability for you to choose how the information needs to be staged, because currently the information is staged in the way it was captured. But this does not necessarily mean that this is the only way that the information can be staged. So if I wanted this information now to be staged any differently, when you're looking at just a typical sorting, the sorting will just limit you to sorting it using a particular column at a time. But if you're looking at sort by range, this here it gives you a better tool set to actually customize by virtue of headers instead of you sorting by a column. Because if you are looking at a bigger data set and you are looking at columns A to columns AA, for example, it's quite difficult for you to start navigating from, okay, so which column am I going to be sorting by? But this way, if you know exactly what the headers are, then you'll be able to look at how is it that you are currently sorting your information and how is it that you want the information to be presented to the people that are going to be using that information. And secondly, the difference then with that and filters is that filters will only allow you to just have a narrow view because you want to filter for a particular set of data points instead of you just sorting, because sorting just says we're just going to be juggling the information around in whatever way you want the information to be presented, and filtering will just literally be, now we're just going to be taking a few sets, we're going to have a condensed view of that particular data.
That's good. And then just one more there, and it is the going back to the end part of all of these amazing tools, especially the function of the spark line. You gave
Yes.
quite a very meticulous and organized setup into your columns and the closed quotations and the asterisks and that whole code. Is there some point of a reference point where teachers can go to check out different options instead of things like the line and the line color, etc.? Is there because I mean you are the expert, and I mean you did that out of your head, or maybe you have a cheat sheet somewhere, but is there a point of reference that teachers can go to?
I mean, the beauty about this is if I just created a simple one, let's say I'm going to try and concatenate. So concatenate, so that's all you do, right? You just select that which you want. And then what it does here is if you press this shark tooth, it opens up a list of a cheat sheet for you. So
Oh,
you don't have to memorize what comes first and what comes second. Here
that's
it'll
good.
give you what you need to have in place, but also it'll give you some examples of, so how have other people used this particular I'll just call it code in different instances. It's a pity I did mine at the lower point, but you'll see that there will be other examples right at the bottom.
Yeah.
And what does this actually mean for the user? So you can either go to a support page, or you can use the artificial intelligence that has already been built into Sheets to assist you, because you don't have to be an expert. You just need to just try it. I mean, you can't break it. And Google is here to actually make everything easier for you. I think
Yeah.
that's the about this online space.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Mrs. Tofile, you absolutely did blow us out of this place, and you've really absolutely brought about a different view, and really unlocked amazing features that I definitely, definitely do. I'm confident to think that most of our viewers right now are absolutely sitting there going, "I did not know that the one kid could do certain tricks and things with Sheets." So thank you very much. Really,
Now,
definitely appreciate that.
thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you on the 7th of September, where we are just going to be looking at coding in a Chrome environment. So we started with a little bit of coding here using Google Sheets. Now what we are going to be doing is we're just going to be taking it to the next level,
Yeah,
because now everyone is going coding and robotics. So what can I do on Chrome, coding and robotics? Stay tuned for the 7th of September. So thank you so much, Mrs. Kosana.
absolutely. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. As we always would say, flight, flight, on story as eight.
Away.